Whenever a game is added to DEI detected, the developers instantly freak out because they know they are going to lose sales because there are so many gamers who do not want to support these types of products. And now Spitfire Interactive has responded to its tactics game Capes being added to the website after it consulted with Sweet Baby Inc. I have a few different things to show off, but before I get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, join the community in my live streams, and consider supporting through Patreon or YouTube memberships. Now, there are a ton of games on this list so far, and it's only rapidly growing, and that means that these developers have come to the realization that they cannot get away from this list, that there are going to be people who are going to boycott their products simply for being on the list, but it could also, on the flip side, garner them a couple of sales because there are activist individuals who know of the list and follow it, and they could always take those examples, share them to their followers, and get people to positively support those products by, say, purchasing them. But we know modern audiences don't really buy games, judging by all of the titles that have released and their minuscule player numbers. But now Spitfire Interactive has issued a response after its recently released game Capes was added to Cabrutus's DEI Detected website after it was revealed it consulted with Sweet Baby Inc. People are allowed to not support games, just like they're allowed to if they feel the developers deserve their money. And unfortunately for Spitfire, gamers don't feel like they deserve their money. It says Cabrutus Rambo announced the game was added to DEI Detected on X. He wrote, "Sup guys, I bring a new Sweet Baby Inc. game to you." He then shared a link to DEI Detected, which notes that Sweet Baby Inc. is listed in the game's credits, including the company's co-founder Dave Bedard and one of its main agitators, Chris Kindred. The credits were actually pulled from a YouTuber, Christopher Odd's channel, and it says Spitfire Interactive developer Penta decided to address being added to DEI Detected's website, which I just want to say, of course, these developers can ultimately do what they want, but it happened so quickly. It doesn't really seem like there were multiple people on the team that consulted on this move. And when you're making a statement, you are, in fact, yes, representing the entire company. And this isn't a very good statement. It says that we already had 3 months and 14 pages of constructive discussion about, quote, DEI in the forum, and delivered a gameplay update focusing on exactly what the player base wanted, leading to 80% positive recent reviews. He continued, "You don't have to take my word for it, you can actually read up on it yourselves, but we were already able to explain that SBI only worked briefly, mainly to bring the 4 to 5 people strong indie dev team in contact with fitting voice actors, together with the devs 2+ years ago, and many first skeptical players were able to find out that there is no hidden agenda or something we force down your throats or other concerns they had besides a well-rounded, diverse cast, obviously." So yes, they did admit that diversity was one of their largest focuses when it comes to this game, and they're allowed to focus on diversity and inclusivity. They're allowed to shove whatever messages they want in a game, but we are also allowed to not support it, and there are a lot of people who are not going to support your game because Sweet Baby Inc. at one point or another did dig their claws into it, and we can't trust you. That's the issue. You can say, "Oh, they barely did anything for us," but at the end of the day, we have multiple consultants from Sweet Baby helping with this game, and we are also seeing a product that does, yes, focus a lot on narratives the mainstream wants to push, more specifically DEI. It's fine to have a diverse cast of characters, but the issue arises when you go on tangents and you say, "Oh, you guys just don't understand what this game is all about," and you have Sweet Baby and consultants working on it. We just don't have any reason to trust you. Now, he actually says that the it's 80% positive recent reviews, and heading to Steam for a minute, it does say, yes, recent reviews are mostly positive. There's only 31 of them, but the all reviews are sitting at a mixed, and there's 276, which definitely is not a good look for them, at least in my opinion and many other people's opinions. And the most helpful reviews in the past 30 days, hilariously enough, are negatives. And these are people who, yes, did buy it, people who didn't just play 5 or 10 minutes. I mean, we're talking about 5 hours on record, 7 hours on record. And there are, again, people here who like it. And it seems that this game has found a small but, significant audience that supports their title, which is great for them because they are an indie team. But at the same time, there are a lot of people who do not like it and who are calling it out for many of the things we've talked about in the gaming industry that are happening. It says the tactics aren't fun. The cast is a diversity quota checklist, not actual characters. The game's tone is all over the place. I don't want to play it. I don't want to watch it for its story either. In both gameplay and story, the game acts like a derivative of a derivative of a derivative. There's no soul here, nothing interesting. It's like a superhero game made by people who hate superheroes. We see this happen a lot, actually. There are indie teams who create a game that follows along with what the mainstream is pushing because they want to use it on their resume and said, oh, actually, I did work on a really diverse and inclusive game, exactly what your company is all about, the type of content your company is making. And then they get hired by those larger companies, their ranks are filled with activists, but it seems to me that that's exactly what they did here. They wanted to have a game on their resume that pushes what the mainstream is pushing. Maybe these people do genuinely feel like they created the game of their dreams and it's amazing, and I'm happy for them. But like I always have to say, while developers, yes, have to be passionate about what they're creating and feel confident in it, they're not making a game for themselves to buy. They're making a product for other people to buy. And we know the group of people who could be called modern audiences, aka sensitive snowflakes on social media, don't really buy games, and there's only a couple hundred to maybe 1,000 people like that who do. Look at player counts on things like Flintlock, The Siege of Dawn, or Concord. These are games that are the definition of diversity, and that's all they've got going for them. And well, people didn't show up to buy them. Here's someone with 7 hours on record saying the game is pretty simplistic and basic. The UI is very bare bones and lacks detail, both in terms of giving details to the player and in terms of visual fidelity. I have no idea where this game takes place. Accents in the game are all over the place. The main characters each have a completely different accent, and they're basically all completely different, which to me screams that they basically wanted to create something like a Valorant or an Apex Legends. I did watch quite a bit of gameplay. I did look at the character descriptions, and that's at least how it strikes me, where in Apex, if you don't know, they tried to shove a ton of different characters with a ton of different backgrounds in there. And hey, I think the gameplay in that title is very fun, which is why I have played it in the past, but a title like this just doesn't look like it has much to offer. There aren't nearly enough character models, it says. This is mostly an issue in cutscenes where you see multiple of the exact same characters, same outfit, same colors on those clothes, same weapons in hand. It sure would be nice if there was some kind of variation. The game has been out for about 2 months from what I can see online. It looks like they've sold roughly 9,000 copies. 41 active players is the max number of active players in the last 24 hours, says SteamDB. Now, just taking a really quick peek over on SteamDB, there's 23 players right now, and 664 is the all-time peak at launch. And yeah, when it comes to single-player games, people buy them, people play them, and people move on until they release things like DLC. But this game does not appear to be going particularly well for Spitfire Interactive, and judging by this response, I don't think they're going to get many other people buying it. This was not a good response. It's basically a, you don't know what you're talking about, and our game is fine. Sweet Baby barely did anything, which, again, we have absolutely no proof that that's the case. It's just them saying it. So yes, this new tactics game, Capes, has been added to DEI Detective's website after it consulted with Sweet Baby Inc. and Spitfire Interactive decided to release a response that I don't think is going to garner them any more sales. But that's all that I had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this, give it a like, and if you didn't, give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I'll talk to you all again in the next video really soon.